This constitutes a security hazard.
Hello everyone, Jack here. Hope you are doing well. Welcome to Security Hazard Minis. Today it's a follow-up video. We are taking a look at the Vivid Imaginations 1999 Tracy Island playset. Now, of course, in a previous video we talked about the Matchbox 1992 Tracy Island, which you can see behind me up here. And well, if you want to go and take a look at that video where we explored the island in full detailed, looked at all the nooks and crannies and all the different play features and things like that, you can take a look at that video. That is on the channel. But today we're looking at the slightly later version, which came out, as I say, I think it was in 1999. This is the toy that I had as a kid. It is well loved. It has been very well played with. It's in surprisingly good condition because it's over 25 years old, and it was very, very actively used. And I mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful toy. I just they, in my humble opinion, they took what was great about the original playset and they just made some really great improvements to it. Nothing too dramatic. It's fundamentally the same toy, but with some differences. So I'm just going to go through the whole island, take a look at it as it is. I mean, first of all, the overall appearance is slightly different in that they've gone for a much bolder paint application, much bolder colors. It's much brighter. The greens and the browns and the yellow of the beach is much more vivid than on the previous one. They've done some different coloring for the different buildings and things like that that are on the island. They also, they didn't just take the original mold and reproduce it. This is a whole new layout. It's similar, definitely takes its cues from the original one, but just does things ever so slightly differently. The main difference that I can see is the positioning of Thunderbird 2's runway. What they've done with this is kind of had it straight on, whereas on the 1992 version, it was at a sort of diagonal angle. And there's a few reasons why they've had to do that. We'll go into that because we're going to take a look around the back, and you'll see that some of the modifications, the most major differences, are actually to be found around the back of the playset. But the front of it is gorgeous. It's got the same sort of layout. It's got the beach at the front with a sticker to represent the water here. Sadly, the sticker is starting to peel a little bit. Keep in mind it's over 25 years old. We've got, the usual sort of things that you can expect. All the rock work is intricately kind of carved and looks quite realistic, I think. As I say, the paint application is much bolder. So the differentiation between the browns and the greens are much more striking. But I think that's okay. In terms of accuracy to what we see in the TV series, obviously, it has a flavor of what we see in the TV series, but more or less it does its own thing, and I think that's okay. So let's start. Let's go through each Thunderbird craft one by one. So starting with Thunderbird 1 and the pool and the Tracy Villa. It's a lovely building. They've got stickers up here for the windows. The chimney is beautiful, and the little sort of, I don't even know what you call that sort of brown piece that goes around the chimney. It's a sort of trellis kind of, I think it's meant to be some sort of like patio area or something. I'm not actually sure, but anyway, they've molded that as well. Stairs obviously coming down to the pool. Same as last time, the pool is operated by swinging the diving board backwards and forwards. The diving board on this one, compared to the Matchbox, they've gone for a single story on it rather than going for sort of something bigger. So anyway, the building sits in a nice little recess like that, and you twiddle that open, which is a fairly smooth motion. And then out comes Thunderbird 1, just like that. We'll talk about the vehicles in more detail in another video, but these are plastic rather than die-cast metal. And as I say, these are the ones I had when I was a kid, and they've held up pretty well considering. But yeah, we'll talk about the vehicles more in another video, another time, I think. But yeah, now I do recall, and you can correct me on this in the comments, but they re-released this island later on, a couple of years later. I want to say sort of 2004, 2005-ish, to time with the 40th anniversary of Thunderbirds. They re-released the island with a couple of extra play features, and I think one of them was they had like I want to say like an elevator of some kind that would lift Thunderbird 1 and Thunderbird 3 out of their launch bays. I don't actually know what the nature of that mechanism was. This is the original one without any of that, mechanics inside. But be curious, if you had a later version of this island, do you recall it having a system for Thunderbird 1 and 3 being able to come up and down like that? I've never actually seen it working. I've never seen one before, but I've seen the toy adverts and it looked really, really cool. So that's why I mention it. But yeah, there we go. So that's Thunderbird 1's launch area, and the villa and the swimming pool. Just really nicely detailed, really nice piece of a nice toy, really nice. Now we're going to move down here to Thunderbird 2. As I said, the main difference between this and the original, the Matchbox one, is that the runway is now pointing sort of straight outwards. I think in terms of the overall look of the island, I think that looks a little bit better. It's slightly more sort of just striking and inviting, I suppose, as a toy. But they've also changed up some of the mechanisms that work the door and the trees and everything. So what it is there is actually a button down the back, which if I press it, it's spring loaded. So now the door opens up by itself, and so it's got that very satisfying slow opening mechanism that I really quite like. It also automatically drops the palm trees. And then if we bring Thunderbird 2 out onto the runway, there's much better access, actually, because it's sort of a straight unit. It means your hand can go all the way through and push Thunderbird 2 out onto the runway. And then, of course, it's got the usual flip mechanism for holding Thunderbird 2 up on the runway, but you have to do it just so in order for it to stay upright. I'm making an absolute mess of this. There we go. You have to flip it with just enough force for it to flip, for the catch to get it underneath and hold it up like that. But there we go. There is Thunderbird 2 up on the runway, and then off we go. Off we blast, It's very, very nice indeed. Let's lower that back down, and then we can reverse Thunderbird 2 back inside. Back. It's also worth noting, as far as the stickers are concerned, they're all new sticker designs, which makes sense seeing as I can't shut me. It's because my button's stuck down. There we go. That's it. That's got it. Fiddly little catch that sort of holds the door shut. The spring had sort of gotten stuck down, and there we go. Now it's in place. But normally I would say that's quite robust, but apparently over the years it's got less robust, which I think is fair enough. But what I was going to say was the sticker designs I really like across all of it just looks slightly closer to what it looks like in the TV series, with the rows of windows and all the details above the ramp. I mean, you never get a close look at the cliff house in the TV series. You just sort of have that one establishing shot of it. So to get all of that detail in, I think it looks pretty good, pretty fair. And then finally, we come to the Roundhouse, and we come to Thunderbird 3. And this, building is very straightforward. It's quite similar to the last one, really, in that they've captured the likeness of the Roundhouse. They have used stickers on this one, some of which are sort of starting to peel away now. That again looks really, really nice. They've gone for a slightly sort of different coloured plastic, slightly more grey, which I feel like is probably more accurate to what we see on screen. But yeah, really, really nice detail. Very happy with that. Of course, they do on the Roundhouse have to put supports on it, which I'm not sure were actually there on the original TV model. But because it's a toy and they have to make it quite sturdy, I think they decided to put some supports on there. And then put the building back in place. Thunderbird 3, not as similar with the Matchbox Island, not a lot of play features on this one. You basically just pull Thunderbird 3 out and off it flies. So, there it is. As I say, we'll be very interested to see the later version of this island with the mechanism that goes up and down, because that would add a certain amount of play value to this, I think, if you were able to see that. So there we go. Very, very nice indeed. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the island around and we're going to take a look at some of the extra details. So, first of all, on this side, it does indeed have the sort of door and the steps that lead down to a sort of jetty at the bottom of the island, which I thought was a feature unique to the 1992 model, but it turns out they've kept that in the sculpt for this one. But then the biggest change, the most major change that they've made to the whole island, if I turn this around, they have a sort of recreation of the Tracy Lounge with all the portraits there. This is the Soundtech feature, which was a word that they invented to make it sound really, really exciting, when actually, just like the last model, it just has some electronic sounds. But what's great about this is each portrait lights up, and I think where possible, they try to get the original voice actors in to record all the different voices and things like that. So let's press the buttons. I believe it's 2 phrases per button, and you've got Scott, Virgil, Alan, Gordon, Penelope, and Brains in there. Sadly, no portrait for John, but let's have a listen.
Every second counts. Thunderbird 1, I'm on my way.
And that was Scott. And then Virgil.
Looks like a job for Thunderbird 2. This is International Rescue.
Doesn't sound an awful lot like Virgil, but we'll give them that. I believe this is Matt Zimmerman playing Alan.
Stand by for blast off.
Thunderbird 3 making a lot of noise there, and then
Thunderbird 3 to base.
very simple, very straightforward. Making my dogs bark in the background, all this noise, they weren't expecting that. And here is Gordon.
Standing by in Thunderbird 4.
I mean, that's certainly David Graham doing that voice.
FAB, Virgil.
Just love that the portraits light up. It's such a simple feature, but it just makes it that much more enticing. And all the little international rescue buttons they've got along here as well. Here's Lady Penelope.
Parker, we are running out of time. International Rescue, Lady Penelope speaking.
I'm not sure if that's Sylvia Anderson or not. It might be. I'm not sure. Anyway, here's Brains.
Mr. Tracy, I have an idea. That would be very risky, Mr. Tracy.
And there we go. Those are all the different little electronic phrases that you have in this little area, and I just love it. It's just so cool to have it here, because it kind of gives you a sense of there being an interior to the island, which was kind of lacking in the last version. And so there's a little speaker grill. I believe it's up here. The little speaker grill is up in the roof of the cave. And then this sort of podium, and you can imagine Jeff Tracy. If you had one of the Matchbox earlier Jeff Tracy figures, you could stand him in there and it will feel like he's in the control center. Obviously not very accurate to what the TV series is, but you get the idea. So that's really, really cool. There we go. And if I keep turning this around, you can see the little cave where Thunderbird 2 is kept. And as I say, there's that button in there, that tricky little button that releases the door, and you can see it, opening up in there, and then close it back down again. And hopefully you can see this time, yeah, the button reseals it, and it is a nice mechanism, despite what I showed in the first part. But there we go, and that pretty much is the entire island right there. And as I say, my personal preference, and because I have a lot of nostalgia for it, is this version. I think this is the definitive version of a Tracy Island toy. And I just think it's a wonderful thing, and I know that it was very popular at the time, and Blue Peter came out again with their make your own Tracy Island. They did that all over again in the early 2000s, and it was best selling Christmas toy again, I believe, in either in 1999 or the year 2000. I can't remember which. But yeah, it's a really wonderful thing, and truly, one of the greatest toys of all time, sort of transcending Thunderbirds. I actually see it on those sort of those horrible, like, automated nostalgia feeds on social media. You'll see this come up quite a lot. People talking about this being one of the greatest toys of all time, and I agree. I agree with them on that anyway. But there we go. That was the Vivid Imaginations Soundtech Tracy Island. Now, I do actually have one more Tracy Island toy, which you might be able to see over there. Let me know in the comments if you recognize what that one is, and possibly it might be covered on a future video. But for now, I've been Jack Noel. Thank you very, very much for watching. And if you enjoy this sort of thing, subscribe to my YouTube channel, or you can also head over to Ko-Fi and pledge as much or as little as you want and get access to exclusive videos as well. So that's it for now. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.
Security hazard negative.